Hey guys, it's Jasmine. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is going to be this really pretty hibiscus floral card that we're going to create together. And we're starting out with the Concord 9th Pretty Petals stamp set and the die set as well. So I've got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of Nina 110 pound solar white cardstock. And I'm going to start off with Simon Says Stamp Duckling ink. And this is a really pretty bright yellow. So this is a brand new stamp set, and sometimes these can be a little tricky to get inked the first few times. This one I didn't have too much of a problem with, but for some reason yellow ink tends to kind of condition your stamps. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a trick you can use. So I started with yellow just because I really wanted to use a bright tropical color for this. So you can see I've stamped my image down, and I didn't get excellent coverage with my ink. So because I'm using the MISTI, it makes it super easy to re-ink where you need ink and restamp without messing up your image at all. And I don't re-ink the entire stamp. I kind of go in where there's light spots and try to fill it in. Now this is a layered stamp set, and you'll see how that works as I do it. But you don't have to, it makes it easier because you don't have to make all those little white spots covered in ink because we're going to cover it with the layered stamping. So I'm using the dies here to help me position the next layer of stamp. See, so this one, it's a little bit difficult to line up the first time. So I laid down the dies to just make it easier on myself to line up the stamp. So I put the stamp on top of the dies, and then I remove the dies, and then we're good to go. So I'm using apricot for the next one. And I take melon to do the inside, but don't do that because it's too light. You want the inside of the flower to look darker so that it looks like the inside of the flower is, you've got depth there. And then it kind of adds to the roundness of the petals coming out. It adds to the 3D, the dimension look of the flower. So just use the apricot, skip over the melon completely. So I inked it again and stamped it again just to get a little more solid color. And you can see that our flower is really taking shape. I love how this looks. So this final one is going to be like the stamen of the flower, and we're going to do that in Sunkissed. And all of the inks I've used on the flower itself are from Simon Says Stamp. So next I'm going to work with my background, and I started with bundle stage and an ink blending tool, but it was going on kind of dark. I wanted this to be really light. So I'm using a Clarity stencil brush, and with these brushes you're not going to get a heavy ink layer. You're going to get it super light. So it can kind of take a while to get the color to show up. And because bundle stage is a little bit lighter, it did take me like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so to get the coverage that I have on my cardstock. So I'm going to go in with some Twisted Citron and Lucky Clover. And these are Distress inks. And this stencil is the Crafters Workshop Mini Capricious Stencil. So I'm going to use some washi tape to stick that down. And then I'm going to go in with Twisted Citron because it is the lighter of the two greens. And with the ink blending tool, I'm going to blend over the stencil to get my vines laid down. And then I'll go in with Lucky Clover just in certain areas to kind of add a little bit of depth, but not over the entire stencil. And then to add a little bit of ink to the edges just to give it a little more oomph. And then I go back in with the Clarity Brush stencil and add more bundled sage over the top. And this does tone down the Twisted Citron a little bit, but you can still see it pretty well. And then I do go in with my ink blending tool and add some Twisted Citron around some of the edges. And then I went back in with my stencil again after I cleaned off the ink and tilted it so that the texture paste would go down on opposite angles or different angles with this than the stenciled vines. And the texture paste I'm using here is some Bo Bunny Sugar texture paste. This is a really high sparkle glittery texture paste. It's gorgeous. So we got, here is my card base, and this is also Nina. And I wanted a dark teal for the background behind the green panel. So what I did was I took Mermaid Lagoon and I blended that all around all four edges. You're not going to see the inside, so really you only need about, I don't know, ½ inch edge maybe. But it wasn't quite the color I wanted, so I went back in with peacock feathers over the top of the Mermaid Lagoon, and that gave me the teal that I wanted. Sorry about all the shakiness. My camera was not very well attached, and I didn't know it. So I've got the ink blending done, and taken off my Post-it tape. And I did run my green panel through the Big Shot using an Avery L. Wonky Stitches die. So to pop up my flower and give it some dimension, I've just got some fun foam. And I'm going to add some score tape, 1-inch wide score tape, to both sides of the fun foam. And then use that to attach my flower down to my card base. And I've also attached my green panel to the card base using score tape as well. And that hello die cut is from Simon Says Stamp, and I die cut that from some gold foil paper from Die Cuts with a View. And I've just got some Tombow on the back to adhere that down. And then as a finishing touch, we're going to go in and put down some Pretty Pink Posh clear droplets, and these are 4mm and 6mm, and these are really pretty to add like water droplets to your cards. And I'm just going to use that, use some glossy accents to adhere those. And that finishes up our card. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it, and we will catch you later. Bye-bye.